Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a completely objective, hype-free look at a piece of smart home tech that is generating a ton of buzz in the property maintenance world. We're talking about the Moen Flo smart water shutoff system. We're going to base our evaluation directly on a detailed plumbing service review, giving you a really pragmatic assessment of the actual risks and rewards.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the smart leak solution itself. Second, how the system actually works. Third, evaluating your personal leak risk. Fourth, potential downsides you really need to weigh. And fifth, is it actually worth installing?
But before we get into the nuts and bolts of the technology, I want you to picture this scenario. You're miles away from your house, maybe on a nice, relaxing vacation, or you're just stuck at the office, and suddenly, a pipe bursts. What happens next? You know that silent, unchecked flow of water is a homeowner's absolute worst nightmare. It could literally give you a brand new, very unwanted indoor swimming pool before you even step foot back through your front door.
That terrifying thought brings us right to Section 1, the smart leak solution, moving from manual discovery to automated defense.
Over the last few years, this kind of tech has moved from being just a luxury gadget to a really practical defense system. So what exactly is the Moen Flo smart water shutoff? Well, based on our sources, it's a system designed to detect leaks through strategically placed sensors and then automatically shut off your water main to limit property damage. Its primary goal is to stop active leaks incredibly quickly. And as you can imagine, this is absolutely crucial when you or your family simply aren't home to catch a problem manually.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift in how we handle plumbing emergencies today. On one side, we have the old way, reactive maintenance. Basically, finding a massive puddle in your basement long after the structural damage has already happened. On the other side, we have proactive protection. This is where your smartphone app actually shuts off the water before that devastating puddle ever forms. It's an incredible shift from relying on human discovery to leaning on automated defense.
Now that we know what it aims to do, let's move right into Section 2, how the system works, the technology behind the valve.
The entire process is incredibly streamlined, and rapid response is really the main advantage here. First, the sensors detect misplaced water, basically sensing moisture in places where it absolutely shouldn't be. Second, the controller instantly triggers an automatic water shutoff at the main valve to stop the flow dead in its tracks. And third, the app sends a rapid response alert directly to your phone. It cuts the response time down from hours to mere seconds.
Getting it all set up typically involves pairing the smart valve directly with your main water supply, and then strategically placing those sensors around your home. From there, the whole shebang is configured and monitored right through the Moen app. Now, you will rely heavily on app notifications and sensor triggers for this to work effectively, but it's super important to highlight this takeaway from our source. This product is meant to complement, not replace, your regular plumbing maintenance. You've still got to take care of your pipes.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how it applies to you. Section 3, evaluating your leak risk, variables that determine value for your home.
The biggest question isn't just does the technology work, but rather, will it prevent the specific kind of damage your home is at risk for? Think about your own home right now. Do you have common trouble spots like an aging water heater, a damp crawl space, or maybe older appliance connections on your dishwasher? What about your home's history? Have you had previous leaks or sweating pipes? Consider your occupancy patterns too. Do you travel frequently? Is the house empty during long workdays? And finally, think about coverage choices. How many sensors would you actually need to effectively cover your home's unique layout? These variables entirely dictate the value you'll actually get out of the system.
To help you figure out where you stand, let's look at two completely different homeowner profiles. On one side, we have our ideal candidate. This is someone who's a frequent traveler, maybe lives in a home with older plumbing, and has several high-risk areas like a finished basement. On the flip side, we have the less essential candidate. This is a homebody who rarely travels, has fully updated, consistently maintained plumbing, and lives in a generally low-risk setup. So, which profile sounds more like your current situation?
That self-assessment naturally leads us to Section 4, potential downsides to weigh. The reality check on smart devices.
We always want to provide a complete, impartial picture in our explainers, and the absolute reality is this. No leak shutoff system is completely set it and forget it in every scenario. Even the smartest systems require your active management. You have to ensure your Wi-Fi and power are reliable, you've got to maintain the sensors and swap their batteries, and you have to periodically check the app just to confirm the system is online and doing its job.
Beyond the basic maintenance, there are some potential inconveniences you need to be objectively aware of.
You have to carefully manage where you put your sensors so they aren't accidentally kicked or moved around. There's also the annoyance factor. The system might automatically shut off your entire house's water for a very minor leak. Or worse, a false sensor trigger event. I mean, imagine dealing with a shutoff during an after-hours emergency when getting a plumber is practically impossible. And of course, there is the total upfront financial cost of the sensors, the accessories, and the professional installation time to consider.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Is it worth installing? The verdict.
So the crucial point is figuring out your best path forward, and it really breaks down into two distinct paths here. If you have a high leak risk, frequent absences, and you're someone who loves automated technology, this is a very compelling investment. That rapid response is your key driver. But if you have a low leak risk, you rarely travel, and you're a bit hesitant about managing more smart hardware, this might be less essential for you. In that case, an alternative like basic, inexpensive, audible leak sensors might be completely sufficient for your peace of mind.
Our source material actually beautifully boils this all down into a final financial formula for anyone who is still on the fence. It advises homeowners to simply compare the expected cost of a major leak against the total installed cost of the system. When you put those two numbers side by side, the devastating cost of major water damage versus the upfront cost of the smart valve, your decision usually becomes incredibly clear.
Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder today. Look around your home. Think about the age of your pipes, your travel schedule, and ultimately your own peace of mind. Does your home's unique leak risk truly justify the smart upgrade? I hope this explainer has given you the tools and structured info you need to answer that question for yourself. Thanks so much for learning with me today.